Let's not waste any time and dive right into it. These banners offer some interesting options, and depending on your current roster, Luocha or Silverwolf may provide more value to you. I'll discuss the value of each banner and compare them in a digestible way to help you make your decision. However, I must disclaim that if you like a unit, then simply go for them. But if you're concerned about power and practicality, especially as a free-to-play player, then don't worry, I'll help you decide. Starting with Silverwolf's banner. Number specifics aren't known yet, and opinions are divided. Here's what we do know. She's a Nihility character focused on debuffing the enemy in multiple ways. She can apply weakness to an enemy, although it's random and based on an ally's element, making it difficult to work around. This weakness debuff will likely be a nice bonus rather than something that you can actually strategize around, except for mono quantum teams, which are not yet available. Silverwolf could enable a mono quantum team in the future, but it's uncertain when that team will be available since there are currently only 3 quantum characters in the game. The 4th character would need to be a quantum healer or a quantum tank on the same level as Jeopard. It could be months before this happens, but when it does, I believe it will be niche yet powerful. Additionally, most of Silverwolf's kit revolves around reducing the enemy's defense, which is her main strength. And her raw numbers, such as her effect hit rate and debuff reduction values, will play a significant role in her effectiveness and whether or not you should pull for her. Now let's look at the 4-star units on Silverwolf's banner. Right off the bat, all of these 4 stars are units that everyone already has, which means you'll be pulling for their Eidolons when you pull on this banner. These characters will also be available in the shop rotation if you're interested. Heng is a solid hunt character. He may not be on the same level as Sealy or Yukong, but he's definitely not bad either. All of his Eidolons are honestly pretty good, with his E4 being the standout. He for sure will be power crept in the future by some 5-star win DPS, but for now he is a good choice. Asta, on the other hand, is a different story. She's more than just solid, especially if you don't have a Qingque or Bronya. She increases attack and speed, which are always valuable, and she has some of the best fire breakage in the game currently. She is a well-rounded character, but what takes her from good to godly is her Eidolons. Her E1 is average, E2 is nice but not amazing, but her E4 is where she shines. Energy regeneration is scarce in this game, and she can get a whopping 15% from this Eidolon. This is huge because it means you'll have higher uptime on her speed buffs. Her E6 in combination with all the other Eidolons makes her on the same level as a 5-star character. Her Eidolons have a significant impact in working towards her E6 and E4, especially as a free-to-play player, it will go a long way. Now, Serval is in an odd spot right now because Qingque and Kafka will exist. However, as a standalone character, she is good. Her E1 is nice, her E2 is really good if you can maintain a good uptime on shock. E4 is not that great since her shock damage is not a primary contributor to her overall DPS. And E6 allows her to deal even more damage. Overall, her Eidolons are good but not great, especially in comparison to Asta's. In terms of pull value, the Silverwolf banner is pretty average, and it will most likely come down to Silverwolf's numbers and praying you get Asta's Eidolons. Now let's move on to Luocha's banner. At face value, it might seem better for diversifying your account and getting more characters, but in reality, most of us will already have these 4-star characters. What do I mean by that? Well, we all get Qingque for free, and Yukong will be given to us for free in the 1.2 patch event. Pela is not given to us for free, but many people have obtained her by pulling on the Sealy banner. If you don't have Pela, then this banner becomes more valuable. However, for the majority of us, that is not the case. Let's start with Luocha. He looks like he's going to be an incredible character. Even without knowing his healing numbers, I can say he will be mechanically strong due to the amount of utility and versatility he offers. He can heal without using skill points, which is good for skill point economy. He can remove buffs from enemies, dispel debuffs from allies, and he scales with attack instead of HP. There is a 0% chance that this character is trash. Additionally, many free-to-play players, myself included, don't have Bailu or Gepard to strengthen and compensate for our defenses. So this banner will come down to the value of the 4-star units and whether or not you have Bailu. The first of those 4 stars is Qingque. There are differing opinions on her since she's essentially just Gamba. My guess is that most people haven't built her because she relies on RNG and they already have a quantum DPS, aka Sealy. If you don't have Sealy, this banner becomes more valuable. Her E1 and E2 are average, but her E4 is very powerful if you don't mind rerunning until you get it. Her E6 makes her absolutely insane, turning her into a viable and very powerful option. Similar to Asta, her Eidolons are powerful but require heavy pulling and she becomes truly effective after the 3rd Eidolon. As for Yukong, I don't have information specifics on her Eidolons, but I do know she will be powerful. At the bare minimum, she will be on par with Asta. Depending on her numbers, she could be potentially on the same level as Bronya or Qingque. This is because she is an imaginary unit who buffs crit rate, crit damage, and attack. 3 things that all DPS characters love. So even though I lack information on her Eidolons, it's probably safe to say that obtaining them will greatly benefit your overall account, especially if you don't have Bronya or Qingque. Lastly, Pela is a solid Nihility character who can deal decent damage and utility. I'll be straightforward in saying that her Eidolons are average. None of them are game changing for her character, not even her E4, which appears to be the strongest, but lacks practicality in current team compositions. The value of this banner somewhat depends on whether you have Pele as her Eidolons themselves are mediocre, and if you have Sealy as a quantum DPS already. Now that we have all this information, it's time to compare these 2 banners and come to a conclusion. Both banners offer decent value for the 4-star units, so it ultimately comes down to the 5-star units this time around. If you don't have Bailu, I would recommend going for Luocha's banner. He is an incredibly safe and powerful option without a doubt. If you already have Bailu or a powerful Gepard, then wait a few days for Silverwolf theory crafters to give their verdict. If Silverwolf is absolutely busted, then I would recommend going for her. However, it depends on how much she has been nerfed from the beta. Otherwise, you can skip both Silverwolf and Luocha and see if Kafka or Blade tickle your fancy. That'll be it for this video. If you found it useful or helpful in making your decision, then consider liking and subscribing for future content. But as always, remember to take care and have a joyous day.